When you set out to recreate a historically significant sword, you inevitably run into a tricky question. Do you stick as close as possible to the original artifact, or do you make subtle tweaks to improve handling and performance? That question became the foundation of the AzureForge Alexander Sword project. Over the past several months, we worked closely with collectors, HEMA practitioners, history buffs, and sword reviewers from around the world. Every discussion about weight, balance, distal taper, and handling characteristics happened out in the open, right within our community. After countless rounds of feedback, we reached a conclusion nobody expected. Instead of building one Alexander sword, we built two. Tortoise were putting these two prototypes head to head to see which one deserves to become our final production model. Spaps will be up on screen. Let's get into the details. Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer: these are engineering prototypes. They were largely hand-fabricated for testing and evaluation, so some of the fight-hand finish details don't yet reflect final production quality. What matters today is performance. Let's start with the pommel. The original historical sword features a very distinct spherical pommel, and we stayed true to that overall look. However, we introduced subtle additional curves to shed weight and improve hand ergonomics. This tweak also let us fine-tune the sword's point of balance without dramatically altering the visual character of the original. For the grip, we went with seamless, genuine leather wrap. Many in the community loved this feature on our previous swords, so we decided to keep it despite the increased production complexity. The result is a cleaner look and a more comfortable hold during extended cutting sessions. Moving on to the crossguard, its overall width is very close to the historical artifact, roughly 27.5 centimeters. Like the pommel, it's made from stainless steel, with softened edges for improved comfort and to eliminate any sharp contact points during handling. Now, let's talk about the blade. The blade is forged from 6-0 Siam spring steel, which corresponds to a STM 9260, in US terms a high-performance spring steel known for its toughness, flexibility, and ability to withstand repetitive cutting stress. You'll notice the blade geometry right away. It uses a compound bevel construction, giving you a profile that balances edge durability with cutting efficiency. The profile taper is consistent, and the blade tracks beautifully straight along its entire length. When you look down the edge, the alignment is exceptionally clean. It's tough to capture on camera, but you can feel it immediately in hand. Now, for the key difference between these two prototypes. At first glance, they look nearly identical, but a small change in distal taper completely transforms the handling. The lighter version comes in at around 1,350 grams. It features a continuous distal taper all the way down, with material removed along the full length of the blade. The heavier version weighs about 1,450 grams. Instead of tapering consistently, it keeps more mass in the middle section of the blade for added stiffness and a more authoritative feel during thrusting actions. We'll put the thickness chart up on screen so you can see exactly where these differences kick in. Holding both swords side by side, the lighter one immediately feels more agile. Point control is effortless. Transitions between guards feel faster. Even one-handed, it's surprisingly comfortable. Or HEMA practitioners, that means excellent point control and a very lively dynamic balance. The heavier sword tells a different story. Its blade presence is significantly stronger. Cuts feel more authoritative, and thrusts offer noticeably more resistance to lateral bending. In theory, we expect this version to deliver greater cutting momentum and improved thrusting authority, but theory only takes us so far. It's time to put them to the test. First up, sharpness. We'll start with a suspended bottle cut. The cleaner the cut, the better the edge performance. Next, we'll test a 2.5-inch foam training target. The sword that lands successful cuts more consistently takes this round. Whew. After that, large water bottles, we'll compare consistency. and cutting efficiency. Once sharpness testing wraps up, we move into cutting performance. First, tatami mats. Cutting multiple mats in quick succession helps us evaluate edge alignment, recovery speed, and cutting authority. Then we'll try 3 cuts through 4 stacked tatami mats to see how much cutting power each sword can generate. Next, thrust authority. We'll start with thrust accuracy. Using suspended bottle targets, we evaluate point control and how naturally each sword enters the target. Then, we move to a controlled penetration test with metal cans. Each sword is released from the same height. Gravity alone drives the point into the target. After that, we compare penetration depth and inspect the tip condition. Finally, we'll run a simulated assault-style penetration test on a metal drum to evaluate the force required for aggressive thrusts and overall structural confidence. Once all that is done, we circle back to bottle cutting. This final test tells us about edge retention after sustained use, and this is where things get interesting, because this project was never about crowning a winner. It's about understanding trade-offs, a sword that's closer to the historical original, a sword that's optimized for modern cutting performance. Over the next few months, these 2 prototypes are going out to independent reviewers and experienced HEMA practitioners will collect their cutting results, handling impressions, criticisms, and suggestions. Their feedback combined with input from the community will help decide which version goes into full production. Personally, I don't think there's a single right answer. Both swords have strengths, both tell different stories. Both deserve a seat at the table. Now we want to hear from you. Well, which one would you pick? The lighter, faster blade that feels alive in your hands, or the heavier version with greater blade presence and a more commanding thrust? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you're digging this project and want to follow the journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. We're AzureForge, a new force in swordsmanship. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.
我感觉头盔有点影响我发挥啊，所以说用这个试一下。失误了，上面。啊 ？No， 切个点。他跟不太行。这是更重的吧？